Hi everyone, thank you so much for the support today. We live to see another day, another round, so please come and support me tomorrow in both.
Dream since she was a kid to see her on carry the...
Mabuhay! Maraming salamat sa suporta at magkita tayo sa next round. Thank you.
Alex Eala's father has declared war. The Abu Dhabi lawsuit that's tearing tennis apart. Stop everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just another tennis controversy. This is a full-scale declaration of war that is sending shockwaves through the entire professional tennis world. We have seen bad calls before. We have witnessed epic meltdowns, racket smashes, and heated arguments with chair umpires, but we have never seen anything quite like this. Just hours ago, a bombshell exploded in the tennis community that has transformed the prestigious Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open from a celebrated tournament into ground zero of a scandal that threatens to expose the darkest secrets of professional tennis officiating. Mike Eala, the father of the Philippines' brightest tennis star, Alex Eala, has taken the unprecedented step of filing an actual lawsuit against the tournament organizers. Not a strongly worded letter, not an angry social media post, and not a complaint filed through proper channels, but a legitimate legal action that could change the landscape of professional tennis forever. He is calling the officiating shameful. He is calling what happened to his daughter a robbery, and most explosively, he is claiming that officials in Abu Dhabi did not just make honest mistakes. He alleges they deliberately sabotaged his daughter's meteoric rise and undermined the integrity of the entire sport. This is Champions Tennis, and today we are diving deep into the most explosive tennis scandal of the year. We have exclusive details, the angry quotes that are setting social media ablaze, and a breakdown of every moment that led to this nuclear option. Was Alex Eala specifically targeted? Is there a hidden bias against rising stars from Southeast Asia? What does this mean for her future in the biggest tournaments? Most importantly, could this lawsuit expose systematic problems in tennis officiating that have been festering for years? The supporters' fan army is mobilizing, the Eala family is fighting back with everything they have, and the tennis establishment is scrambling in panic mode. Let's break down this unbelievable story from the very beginning, because every single detail matters. According to multiple sources close to the Eala camp, and reports circulating on social media less than 2 hours ago, Mike Eala has filed formal legal action against the organizers of the Abu Dhabi Open. The core allegation at the center of this lawsuit is damning, claiming unfair officiating decisions deliberately placed Alex at a severe competitive disadvantage during a crucial match in her career. Every professional tennis player has dealt with questionable line calls and experienced the frustration of close decisions going against them during critical moments. That is part of the game. You shake your head, mutter under your breath, maybe give the umpire a look, and move on to the next point. That is standard procedure in professional tennis, but this situation allegedly goes far beyond a single disputed call. According to Mike Eala's statement, what happened in Abu Dhabi was a systematic, point-by-point dismantling of his daughter's mental state and competitive advantage during what should have been one of the defining matches of her breakout season. His statement, which is now setting the tennis world on fire, says, "This is truly shameful. They are undermining the integrity of tennis. If they do not change their decision, my daughter will suffer severe consequences." How can they treat a 21-year-old young woman who is already facing criticism from across the Philippines in this way? These words highlight fears beyond losing a trophy or prize money. He is talking about her entire career trajectory, her ranking points that determine tournament entries, her Grand Slam seeding, and her psychological well-being. He also acknowledges the immense pressure Alex carries as the face of Philippine tennis, holding the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders. As of February 2026, Alex Eala is 20 years old and approaching 21. She is no longer a promising junior or a teenage prodigy with future potential. She is now a legitimate top-tier WTA contender who has fought her way into the top 40 of the world rankings. Out of thousands of professional players, she is among the elite. She is earning direct entry into WTA 1000 events and competing against the biggest names in tennis as a serious threat. However, this rise brings enormous pressure. In the Philippines, Alex is not just another athlete. She is a national icon featured on billboards and in commercials. Every match she plays is watched by millions. Every victory is celebrated like a national holiday, while every loss is analyzed, criticized, and debated across social media platforms. Her father specifically mentioned this intense scrutiny in his statement. Imagine being 20 years old and knowing that every time you step onto the court, an entire nation is watching, judging, hopping, and sometimes criticizing. Alex entered the Abu Dhabi Open, a prestigious WTA 500 event that represented a crucial opportunity in her season. She needed ranking points to secure Grand Slam seeding and prize money to support her world-class team, travel, and training. She fought through early rounds with determination and resilience, reaching the quarterfinals. The crowd was electric, with thousands of Filipino expatriates living in the UAE filling the stands, waving flags, chanting her name, and creating an atmosphere that felt like a home match despite being thousands of miles from Manila. The energy was undeniable. Her doubles partnership with Janice Jin, known as the Caesars, was generating buzz, and everything seemed perfectly aligned for a breakthrough run into the top 30. Then, according to eyewitness accounts and the allegations in the lawsuit, the officiating began to shift. If you have followed professional tennis for any length of time, you may have noticed patterns that raise serious questions, especially when young rising stars face intense pressure at critical moments in their careers. In the Philippines, Alex isn't just another athlete competing in an individual sport. She is a national icon. She appears on billboards and in commercials, and every match she plays is watched by millions. Every victory is celebrated like a national holiday, and every loss is dissected, analyzed, criticized, and debated by passionate fans and equally passionate critics across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Her father specifically highlighted this crushing reality in his statement, mentioning the constant criticism she faces across the Philippines. Imagine being 20 years old and knowing that every time you step onto a tennis court, an entire nation is watching, judging, hopping, and sometimes unfairly criticizing. Alex entered the Abu Dhabi Open, a prestigious WTA 500 event that represented a crucial opportunity in her season. She needed ranking points to strengthen her chances of better Grand Slam seeding, and she needed prize money to support her world-class team, travel, and training. She fought through the early rounds with the determination and grit that have become her trademark, eventually battling her way into the quarterfinals. The crowd was electric. Thousands of Filipino expatriates living in the UAE packed the stands, waving flags and chanting her name, creating an atmosphere that felt like a home match despite being thousands of miles away from Manila. The energy was undeniable. Her doubles partnership with Janice Jin, known as the Caesars, had been generating excitement throughout the tournament. Everything seemed perfectly aligned for a fairy-tale run that could push her into the top 30. Then, according to multiple eyewitness accounts and allegations in the lawsuit, the officiating began to shift. If you have followed professional tennis for any length of time, you may have noticed a troubling pattern. Players from smaller tennis nations, especially those from countries without a long history of Grand Slam champions or strong tennis infrastructure, often appear to be at a disadvantage during close calls. Those 50-50 line decisions that could go either way often seem to favor higher-ranked players from traditional tennis powerhouses. Time violations are frequently issued to young rising players, while experienced veterans often receive more patience. Technical issues with electronic line calling systems sometimes occur at crucial break points, often affecting players from less established tennis nations. Usually, players in this position have little choice but to hide their frustration. They might post a subtle or emotional message on social media or give a carefully worded post-match interview mentioning tough calls as part of the sport. Then they pack their bags, travel to the next tournament, and hope for better results. This time, however, the Eala family decided enough was enough. They drew a clear line and made it known that they would no longer accept this treatment, not only for Alex, but for every rising player from non-traditional tennis nations who may feel overlooked or unfairly treated. So what exactly happened on the court in Abu Dhabi? While the full lawsuit remains sealed and contains legal details that have not yet been made public, insiders and fans who witnessed the match describe a deeply concerning sequence of events. It occurred during a high-pressure moment in the match when tension filled the stadium. Alex was serving, trying to hold her position in the set or possibly disrupt her opponent's momentum. She struck what appeared to be a crucial shot, and spectators with a clear view of the line insisted the ball landed in. Several fans reported seeing chalk rise from the line, which in tennis is usually considered clear evidence that the ball touched the line and should be ruled good. Despite this, the line judge called the ball out. Alex immediately showed confusion and disbelief. She turned toward the chair umpire, clearly wanting to challenge the call. However, reports suggest that either the electronic review system was unavailable at that moment or the chair umpire denied the possibility of a challenge without proper explanation. Her frustration was visible to everyone in the stadium. She pointed toward the spot where the ball landed, trying to indicate the mark, but the umpire reportedly refused to reconsider the decision. According to eyewitness accounts and the lawsuit, the issues did not stop there. There were claims of inconsistent enforcement of time violation rules. While Alex's opponent was reportedly allowed extended time between points, including slow walks back to the baseline, repeated ball bouncing, and extended breaks, Alex appeared to be rushed and warned for taking normal preparation time. Each time she began building momentum and confidence, another interruption reportedly broke her concentration. In tennis, momentum plays a massive role. The sport is as mental as it is physical. When a player's rhythm is repeatedly disrupted, it can damage confidence and performance. According to the allegations, this pattern of interruptions significantly affected Alex's ability to play naturally. The lawsuit claims these incidents were not random mistakes, but negligent and potentially discriminatory actions that influenced the match's outcome. Imagine being Mike Eala in the player's box, watching everything unfold. He has invested years of sacrifice into his daughter's career. He sees her frustration grow, her confidence weaken, and her fighting spirit slowly fade during a critical moment in her journey. Many parents might react emotionally, shouting from the stands or leaving in anger. Instead, Mike Eala reportedly responded in a way that could have far-reaching consequences. He contacted his lawyer. This brings attention to one of the most serious issues in professional tennis: integrity. Mike Eala used this word deliberately in his statement, claiming the situation undermined the integrity of the sport. This is an extremely serious accusation, suggesting that the competition in Abu Dhabi may not have been conducted fairly and that the outcome may have been influenced by factors beyond athletic performance. Over recent years, professional tennis has faced growing criticism. Players have complained about matches scheduled late into the night, sometimes ending in the early morning hours. There have been concerns about tournament balls contributing to increased injury risks. Electronic line calling systems have occasionally failed during crucial points, raising suspicions about consistency and fairness. Many observers believe these issues form a troubling pattern, and when such concerns affect a young player representing not only her personal career, but the hopes of an entire nation, the impact becomes far greater than a single match or tournament. For many supporters, Alex represents the growth of tennis in Asia and the sport's push toward becoming truly global rather than dominated by a few traditional regions. That is why this controversy carries significance beyond one player. It has sparked wider conversations about fairness, opportunity, and the future direction of professional tennis. They need the passionate, engaged, and social media-savvy Filipino fan base, which is arguably one of the most dedicated tennis communities in the world. Look at the engagement whenever Alex plays. When she steps onto the court, Filipino tennis Twitter explodes, viewership numbers spike, and social media metrics soar. She is not just important for Philippine tennis, she is valuable for the entire sport. So the question everyone is asking, and debating in group chats and comment sections around the world, is why would she be treated this way? Some observers, including conspiracy theorists, suggest the tennis establishment may want to protect the old guard. They may prefer rankings not to shift too quickly, keeping familiar names and recognizable faces in finals for television ratings and sponsor commitments. Is Alex, in a twisted way, a victim of her own success? Is she rising too fast, threatening established players, and disrupting a comfortable system that benefits tournament organizers and broadcast networks? Or is the explanation simpler and in some ways more disturbing? Could it be pure incompetence? Is officiating in professional tennis in 2026 so inconsistent and lacking accountability that match-altering mistakes happen regularly because players are too afraid to speak out. Whatever the real explanation may be, one thing is clear. The Eala family is no longer accepting the standard "these things happen" excuse. They want accountability. They want the decision reviewed and possibly reversed. Even if that does not happen, they want the world to acknowledge the injustice and demand better standards. The reaction to the lawsuit has been immediate and explosive across social media. On X, formerly known as Twitter, the hashtag #JusticeForAlex began trending within minutes and quickly reached #1 in the Philippines and #3 in the United Arab Emirates. Fans flooded the Abu Dhabi Open's official social media pages with thousands of comments demanding answers and accountability. One fan wrote that someone finally had the courage to stand up against bias and that the entire Philippines supported the fight. Another fan claimed they watched the match live and believed Alex was robbed of momentum by officiating interference. It is not just fans paying attention. Reports suggest that players across the tour are quietly monitoring the situation because the implications could be enormous. If Mike Eala wins the lawsuit and a court acknowledges that negligent or biased officiating caused measurable financial or career damage, it could open the floodgates for similar cases. It could change the balance of power in professional tennis, force stricter accountability for officials, and possibly push tournaments toward fully automated line calling systems. It could even place financial strain on smaller tournaments unable to handle legal settlements. This is why tournament organizers are reportedly in crisis mode. Sources suggest emergency meetings are taking place behind closed doors, while lawyers and public relations firms are being consulted. Officials must decide whether to settle quietly, issue a public apology, offer compensation, or aggressively fight the lawsuit and risk a lengthy public trial that could damage reputations on all sides. Meanwhile, Alex herself remains at the center of the storm. She is currently preparing in Dubai for a WTA 1000 event that she earned direct entry into through her ranking, an achievement that should be celebrated. Instead of focusing solely on training and match preparation, she faces global media attention and legal controversy. Alex is known for her mental toughness, developed through elite training and competitive experience, but this level of distraction is unlike anything she has faced before. The lawsuit also highlights the criticism she faces at home. Philippine sports media can be intense and sometimes unforgiving. If she loses in Dubai, critics may blame distraction from the lawsuit. If she questions officiating again, she could be labeled difficult or accused of making excuses. It places her in a difficult situation unless the legal battle establishes protections for her and other players in the future. The consequences could be significant. Ranking points are critical in professional tennis, and losing a match due to questionable officiating could impact tournament seeding, prize money opportunities, and long-term career progression. There are also reputational risks. Filing a lawsuit could position the Eala family as challengers to the tennis establishment, a system that traditionally values quiet professionalism. This could influence relationships with officials, tournament organizers, and sponsors. However, it could also transform Alex into a symbol of strength and fairness, a player who stood up against injustice and inspired others to do the same. The lawsuit signals determination and a refusal to accept the status quo. It demands fairness, transparency, and respect for Alex's achievements. It may represent a turning point in professional tennis. If the tournament settles quietly, it may be viewed as an acknowledgement that mistakes were made. If it proceeds to trial, it could expose how officiating decisions are handled behind the scenes. At the same time, Alex must continue competing at the highest level while handling intense pressure unrelated to her performance on the court. The situation also carries broader importance for tennis in Asia, particularly Southeast Asia. Alex represents possibility and progress, proving that players from developing tennis nations can compete with traditional powerhouses. Her success inspires young athletes and expands the global reach of the sport. The timing of the lawsuit is also significant, as the Middle East has invested heavily in hosting major tennis events. Allegations of unfair treatment at a high-profile tournament could affect the reputation of the region's sporting ambitions. This increases pressure on organizers to address the issue carefully. Social media has amplified the controversy dramatically. Within hours of the statement, The story spread globally across fan accounts, sports media, and news outlets. Online discussions continue to intensify, placing pressure on governing bodies to respond publicly. Unlike the past, controversies can no longer fade quietly because fans actively demand transparency. Mike Eala has framed the legal battle as a fight for the integrity of tennis rather than just a personal dispute. This broader message resonates with fans who believe sport should reward talent and effort rather than be influenced by bias or inconsistency. As the situation develops, attention will focus on whether governing bodies issue statements, whether tournament organizers respond, whether other players share similar experiences, and whether the lawsuit proceeds to court or ends in settlement. At its core, this is seen by many as an underdog story, a family challenging a powerful system and demanding fairness. Alex is becoming more than an athlete in this moment. She represents resistance against injustice and a call for reform within professional tennis. The story continues to evolve rapidly, and its outcome could influence the future of officiating, player rights, and accountability in the sport.